All right, so today's video is an edit with me video. You all loved the behind the scenes video that I showed a couple months back where I took my own headshots in my house and just set up a paper backdrop that I got off Amazon and just wanted to re-update my brand photos. It was like the fall at the time and I just kind of wanted to do them and I didn't want to plan a huge shoot, so I did them myself. And one of the most asked questions from that video was, how did you actually edit these images? Because they look really bright, but the scene is not super bright. And that's a good point because the scene was not super bright. So I did a little bit of tweaking, but it's really, really simple. It's kind of fun to just show you the behind the scenes and the finishing of these images. So I'm going to take you guys into Lightroom with me today. I'm going to edit a couple of these images and even remove the wire from my microphone cord, which you could see. We're going to be exploring the brush tool inside of Lightroom, changing the crop, the angles, because it was a little wonky. My tripod wasn't even set up properly. But I hope this is helpful for you. I hope this is fun. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and the thumbs up button if this is helpful. And let's dive in. These are from just some pictures that I took in my living room, and I have a video all about how I got these and how you can get these too very, very affordably on my channel. So I'll link that down below and I'll add a card. But I thought it'd be fun to show you how the images looked before they were edited because they were a little dark. I didn't really do a ton of setup, and I thought it would be fun to show you how I achieved this final image here and do a little edit behind the scenes. Okay, the first thing I want to do is obviously I'm going to change the crop of this because I wasn't even, horizon line wasn't found. Like, I don't know what I was doing there. My tripod was actually in like my dining room, and so it was a little uneven. So let's go ahead and do this. The other thing I'm going to do right away is throw on this like Fuji 400H preset, which is kind of like my go-to preset for my work. I like the way this is looking a lot. I'm going to restore some of the shadows a little bit here to like my jeans and then play around with the whites because I do like it to be very bright, very poppy. Like that's kind of my brand. Then I'm going to go in here and just like look at, it's sharp. I'm going to probably pull up this denoise just a tiny bit. Well, the noise reduction, I guess I should say. And what I do is I just pull it up inside the luminance and then I look at it and see, and it's definitely smoothing it out. And you can see the remote is in my hand and I'm just going to leave that there. But one thing I am going to do is I'm going to remove this cord here so that it's not so distracting and so visible. So the first thing I'm going to do is come over here to the brush tool, make sure it's on clone, and then I'm going to adjust the size of the brush so that it makes sense. I like that. We're not going to have it be super feathered, and I'm going to make the opacity a little bit high, but I'm going to check it out and just see like how it looks like once I actually go over it. I'm not like a master retoucher by any means. It's just a lot of trial and error for me, but that looks pretty darn good. I'm going to see if I can like move this feather out a little bit less and see how that looks. Kind of cuts into my foot, like the littlest bit there. So I'm going to pull that down and see if I can, To be honest, I'm not super picky about that. And then I'm going to just click in there and see if I can get rid of that spot. Perfect. I'm also going to move this because I see a little bit of cord on the other side and that's actually kind of bothering me. And then I have like this little speck of something on my pants. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. So one thing I like to do is I hit the soft proofing here and it puts it against this white background for a proof preview. The reason I like to use this is I want to see what this is going to look like when it's on Instagram or a website or something that has this like pure white background next to it. And a lot of times this is a good check for me to figure out if my exposure is as bright as I want. Now I know for a lot of people, this is a little too bright for them. It's just not their jam, but that's okay. I just use this as an indicator for my own preferences. And it also helps me with white balance. So I can look at this and I can tell that it's definitely warm and it's what I like for my images. But I just wanted to point that out for you guys. That's a great way to check. Sometimes that gray around the image can be a little deceiving. Most of the time I want to see it against the gray, but every so often I will check this little proof preview and make sure that it looks nice against white as well. All right, so the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to this color grading section here on the edits panel, and I'm going to look at maybe warming up these shadows just the littlest bit. Yeah, I like that. All right, let me go ahead and look closer at that. Yeah, it's super subtle. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So I have one more edit that I want to show you the before and after from, because I think that sometimes we only see the afters and it can be really fun to see the making of an image. So I'm going to go ahead, grab the Fuji 400H, and the first thing I'm going to do is pull up the exposure like a lot. Probably I should have had just a kiss of a flash or a reflector or something else brought in there, but we're going to work with it. I'm going to leave the contrast where it is, but I am going to bring up these, let's see, highlights. No, that's fine. I think what I would like is a little more detail in like these shadows. Like I like the jeans to look darker. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that. And then I'm going to bring up the whites because I just want it to really pop. Okay, so a cool trick that you can try is if you hit the J key on your keyboard, it's going to show you the whites and the blacks of your image and where you're losing them in terms of the information. So I hit the J key, and as I slide up, you're going to start to get this red that like creeps into your image, which is basically saying that like this information is completely blown out and lost because I'm pulling the white up super, super high. So if you're editing an image and you're not sure if it's light or if it's like completely blown, this is a good way to check. So I'm going to leave this at like -7, and then you can go ahead and play with the dark. See how it comes in blue? This is kind of telling you that you've reached complete black on the image. I mean, that's not necessarily saying that you've done anything wrong, but it's a great way to check your eyes and make sure that it's doing what you want it to be doing. So again, that's the J key on the keyboard, and you'll see up at the histogram at the top in the right-hand panel, those points of the blacks and the whites are highlighted. So it's showing you like, hey, here's where you're losing the blacks and here's where you're losing the whites. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the black at +80. And then I'm going to come down here and do just a tiny bit of noise reduction on this image because the image, and this is a little bit soft, it's not even like 100% in focus. The focus is like more here on my shirt than it is on my face, but I think it works for what I'm using it for here. And this actually ended up being the cover of my podcast art, which is funny. So just an image that I took very casually in my living room with this backdrop from Amazon ended up being my cover art. So very cool. So if you need images for your brand and you're wondering how you can take images like these, I have a video about the behind the scenes of this. It's kind of like a vlog style video where you can see the step-by-step, the tools that I used. I even popped a flash for these ones here at the end, kind of a more direct flash, like editorial look, which is really cool. And you can get the complete steps and the link for the background and stuff like that on the other video. So I'll go ahead and link that below and also link the cards up for the video that you can watch the replay. So I hope this has been kind of a fun how I edited these photos, how I got them to go from a kind of dark natural light shoot in my living room to looking a little bit more studio, a little bit more fresh and fun. I personally love these photographs, and besides the cord that I have to finish editing out of most of these images, I think they're very usable for social media and beyond. So if you like this video, hit that thumbs up button. Be sure to hit subscribe. I have more Lightroom tutorials linked down below and a couple different playlists for you as well, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.